This is ATA 2017, episode number 10 with Jared Van Hees, Outdoor Devotion TV. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. Yes, we are still at ATA. This is the third day, and yes, I'm tired. But hey, we got a great show, lineup of shows today. And first off is Jared Van Hees of Outdoor Devotion. Jared, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Hey, where are you from?
I'm from a little town in Michigan called Brighton, north of the Ann Arbor area, Metro Detroit area.
And how long have you been there?
I've been there 4 to 5 years. I grew up on the west side of Michigan from Grand Haven. Nice tourist town over there, but work brought me to the east side, and some of the college buddies as well brought me over there, so that's where I'm at now.
No, you're a younger guy. I'm an older guy. What made you get into the outdoor industry through Outdoor Devotions?
Good question. My dad started bringing me hunting a lot when I was a kid. Skipped school on opening day, the whole deal. And some way or another, I got hooked, more so than a lot of people. Not so many people that I know now who are all as hooked as myself, like you, but I'm obsessed. And it bit me at a young age, and I'm still going. So one day, we started filming our hunts, and we have all this footage, and I'm like, what are we gonna do with this? It's sitting on the hard drive. My computer crashes. I'll never see that again. Let's throw it online. And boom, we're still doing that. So
hey, before we get into Outdoor Devotion, is this your first ATA show?
It is. I'm having a blast.
So tell me your experience. I mean, how's it going to benefit you as a person in the outdoor industry?
The main thing I've seen so far are just the people I've met. I mean, like you, I've met 5-10 other people that I've already had a great relationship with. And I mean, these are guys that I've followed for years online. Some film, some don't, personalities. I mean, I met Jim Shockey yesterday. I got a selfie with Jim Shockey. He kind of laughed at me, but it was an awesome picture, and I was very happy to do it. Pretty goofy, but I mean, it's a great show. It's big. I spent all day yesterday walking from start to the finish, but people I've met so far are probably the number one reason. Then also I've learned a lot too. I'm talking to these guys. So what have you learned? Bring specifically, because I got thousands of listeners. I had hundreds of people on Facebook say, can you give me and can you make me take it? And I know, I can't do it. There's such a drive, want to be here. So for the people that didn't hear, just share what it's meant to you as far as learning less about the industry we're in. Yeah, so I would say I learned a lot of it, or at least some of it, is probably about who you know. It's always helpful to know people. Also, on some of the filming things, I went to the Badlands Film Festival last night and realized some stuff that I could do to improve my stuff by watching those really awesome films. I was talking to the guy in the restaurant last night about filming and learned 6 or 7 tips and tricks from him. And it's like, wow, just all this good information. And that's aside from the show. The show itself, I mean, there's every new product here. New camera arms, new bows, everything. It's amazing. It's a lot to take in. Yes, it is. And just like Jared, I can't believe the people that have recognized our brand, Whitetail Rendezvous. So you said in the warm-up that you watch a show. Why do you watch a show or listen to the show? Pardon. Your show? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm in sales, so I spend a lot of time in the car, and radio gets boring or whatever, and I listen to podcasts, a lot of podcasts. There cannot be enough of them. So, I mean, if you're in the car as long as I am all the time, and you're as obsessed as I am with whitetail hunting, it's a natural fit. I found you and haven't stopped. So if they had to say 3 things that the show has helped you do, what would they be? Good question. I think I've learned some things about marketing my company and our website. I've also learned that I want to come here next year with all the Outdoor Devotion guys. I mean, we should all be here. This is an amazing show, just an experience. And I would just say that I learned that if you're a small company and you want to do something, do it, get here some way or another with your stuff, and people are going to see it. And I mean, it's all the right people are at this show, right? So if you're here, it's a chance that somebody else is going to see you and follow you and like you and all that good stuff. So, I mean, kind of my impromptu answer, I guess. It sounds good to me. And let's talk about self-filming. You mentioned camera arms, you mentioned learning new tricks, and there's a lot of people out there, they go out, buy a HD camera, they get an arm, and some cameras you can put right on the bow, and we saw a company today, they've got a mount for your smartphone. I saw that company. So basically, my only thing with that is the vibration when you shoot your bow and release the arrow, that's that's the most critical time you need to be still with your camera, right? And so if you're shooting your bow and your phone moves at the most critical moment, to me, you may have missed it. But I checked out that product. I like that product, especially for maybe watching yourself as you're drawing the bow, a second angle.
Like all your B-roll.
Exactly, all your B-roll. That's a perfect product for it. I talked to those guys for 45 minutes yesterday. But for people who want to get into it, it's a pain, honestly.
Wait a minute.
It's a pain. So you haul the camera gear out there. You got a base, an arm, a fluid head, a zoom controller, your camera, your mic. You haul it out there and set that up and take that down every single hunt all year long. And in December, it starts getting old. Real old. But when you finally capture that moment and it's your kill, you can watch it 1,000 times over, and it's so rewarding. It took me 3 years to get my first really nice kill on film, and it was an 8-point buck in Fowlerville, Michigan, it just came together perfect. And that doesn't always happen. Actually, probably doesn't happen very often at all. But when it does, it's very rewarding. And self-filming, meaning you managed the camera yourself, you followed the deer, you kept your nerves down, you drew on him without him noticing, and then you make a good shot. All that together, it's a cluster. But when it works out, it's awesome.
So what advice, just a couple minutes, somebody's saying, I see all these shows and Roku, Gen 7, and then it's all Pursuit Channel, Sports Channel, Hunting Channels, all these channels, and there's a lot of room content, but how do they do it? How do they get from zero to where somebody recognizes them?
Good question. I would say you would need to build a following online first. So if we didn't have a Facebook page, prior to that, we're on a local television show in Michigan as well, Lansing, Jackson area on My 18. And if we didn't have a Facebook page, the guys who produced that show wouldn't have seen us, wouldn't have seen our footage, wouldn't have reached out to us and asked us to jump on the show with them. And now it's our 3rd season with them this fall, and it's a great show. So you have to be out there, first of all. You're out there, you understand that. And then content. So, you come up on Google, you come up on YouTube, that type of stuff. And you need to separate yourself from the others. I don't know I don't know the perfect answer to that. I'm still trying to figure that out myself, but that would be one thing. But you can pay to be on the Hunt Channel.
A lot of money.
You could just go over there and sign up and pay to be on it if you want to. So there's a lot of people think you have to do this and that to get on TV, and this. You can go pay your way in if you want to. So it's really this is a hobby for me. So we don't throw a ton of money at it. I haven't spent $1 on Facebook marketing it yet. Maybe I should, right? But it's fun, and we're building the following. And I met a guy last night, guy from Iowa, Ryan Iberg is his name, real nice guy. He actually knew of our website and our company and our videos, and it may not sound like a big deal, but to me, I was like, really?
That's a big deal.
I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, follow you guys on Facebook. I'm like, that blew my mind. So apparently we're starting to do something right or whatever. But
let's stay right there and talk about social media and your millennium and right square in it. So what do you look for in social media as far as utilization today and then future growth?
Now, would you say what avenue you should be using? I would say Instagram. I need to use that more. Facebook, obviously. YouTube. Everything's online. Sooner or later, we're not even going to buy cable anymore, I imagine. We'll all be online. So I would build the online presence. I would do Instagram, and I would do a lot of content, but make sure it's good content. If you're just putting every other picture up there, and I don't know the perfect answer to that, but what I've learned, I think you need to have good content, and that would be valuable to what I would like to see. So yeah, I would go, and I don't tweet. I'm not on Twitter. Maybe I should be, but I've never really gotten into that. I think you should probably be on there though. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is where I would head. Yep, we're on Instagram and Facebook. But I'd say Facebook's probably our largest following, but I think Instagram's the up and comer, if you will, and probably the hot topic right now.
Great. We developed a Twitter book, how to go from 0 to 20,000 followers in 15 months, and so that's available at 33444 ATA 2017.
Here, take my credit card right now, please. I need that.
No, it's free.
Oh, really?
It's
cool.
Right in your card. And I just shout that out because a lot of people here, they're going, really? And I was surprised. I'm an older gentleman, but I was surprised how many people really aren't mining social media.
Right.
I really am surprised. And they're spending millions of dollars in advertising, where this is, how much does it cost me on Twitter? $10 a month or a day in time?
Right. In time. Nothing.
Just in time.
Yep.
It's an amazing tool, and it's a growing tool. Let's shorten this up, not shorten this up, but segue into 2016, and something happened in the woods, and personal best went down.
Yeah. My personal best buck is a 133-inch 9-point, Southern Ohio, mainframe 8-point, little point on there. So yeah, I'll tell you the story. It was an emotional roller coaster, that's for sure. My friend Jesse and I, he's also with Outdoor Devotion. We we head down to Southern Ohio, about an hour north of Kentucky, and we are part of a lease down there with some other guys. And we went down on, I believe it was the 4th of November. So we get down there in the afternoon for an evening hunt. Hauling the whole way down there, get in the tree right away. And what do you know? I'm hitting my bleat can because, in Michigan, the deer are a lot more pressured. So things like calls and tactics that you would use or see more so in Iowa and Missouri don't work as much, I would say, in my opinion, especially for mature deer, which is what I like to go after. But down there, I tried it. I was like, what the heck? I'm in Ohio. Maybe it'll work. And I flipped my can the first night down, and I hear this running behind me, and a really nice buck, in my opinion, came running in right to my tree, right under me. I'm flipping my camera around. I'm trying to get on him. I get on him, and I draw, and he's behind a bush, so I don't have a shot. He had, I think, 4 points on one side and a weird, tall split on the other, kind of an interesting buck. And he took a few more steps, and I bleated and stopped him, and he just wouldn't give me a shot and then took off. So that was Friday night. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a good week, right? It's the first night down. And so the next morning, we're planning on doing an all-day sit. Get in the stand. It's the first morning of the cold front that moved in. I hunt cold fronts. And I have a nice 4-point coming behind me. Good looking deer. I saw a couple doe. And all of a sudden, I hear this grunting coming down the ridge behind me. And I look, and coming down the hill, there's an 8-point. There's nose on the ground, grunting, running right down the hill. And he's following this trail that the doe had been on 20 minutes before that. Well, I get my camera where I think he's going to be. He steps in the gap. I stop him. I release an arrow. Looked awesome. Looked like a double lung shot. He mule kicked the whole deal and took off running. Well, I celebrate, call my wife, talk to the kids, the whole deal. Ended up, I smoked a branch, deflected my arrow straight down, and the arrow actually slapped him in the leg. So he looked like he was lung shot, heart shot, dead, and there wasn't even a speck of blood. I got no penetration, nothing. My arrow snapped. So I go from the ultimate high to literally the worst feeling in the world. So now I'm trying to stay positive, and I'm just bummed. It was perfect on film, the whole thing. It was awesome. And
did you see when the arrow, when you look back at it, where it deflected?
So once we got back to the hotel, I put it on the TV, and then you could see it. I couldn't tell from my camera in the tree. And then you could, okay, well, it's a miss. So I'm like, all right, I drew on a buck the first night, didn't get a shot. I just missed another one. Guys like me don't get this many chances at nice bucks every year. You might get one, you might get two. I normally am lucky to get one. And I just had 2 chances in 2 hunts. All right, so now I'm thinking, okay, I have my chances. This is it. Well, we get back out that night after stomping around looking for blood and everything. We get back out. I hunt on the backside of a ridge. I hung a new stand. I hung my lone wolf up down there, and I'm on the edge of a thicket and see a couple little bucks, a doe that night. Deer move was pretty good. Then last light, I hear this slow walking behind me coming out of the thicket, and I can barely see. My camera light, my camera light was pretty much at the end of its time, and all I see is the biggest frame I've seen in a long time, and he's coming right at my tree. And he turns and comes down the logging trail, and I drew on him. He had no idea I was there. I stopped him. It was a 12-yard shot. I double lunged him, blew right through him. He ran probably 6 yards and stopped and had no idea what just happened. And so I'm like, either this is going to be really good if he falls over, or really bad if he walks off. And what do you know, 10 seconds later, he fell right over and crashed. Ended up being that nice 9-point. We had him on trail camera from earlier in the year, and my personal best. So in 3 hunts, I had every emotion you can probably imagine, and it was awesome. Now he's at the taxidermist and in the freezer. So
now let's talk about your lease and how you set that up and why you chose the locations of the stand you did, that type of information.
Yep.
Kind of set it up for us.
Yep. So I like to hunt the thickest stuff possible. I feel like if you're a mature buck, you're not going to stand out in the wide open, and if you do, it's not going to be for very long. At least in Michigan where I hunt, that's the case. So I get on the edges of the thick stuff, and it was pre-rut down there. I figured maybe there's some deer bedding in there. So basically, every time I hunt, I find the thickest stuff possible and sit on the edge of it. This was on the back of a ridge. We were accessing on the top of the ridge, so I feel like the deer had figured out where we've been walking in and out. So I dropped off the back side and went down the hill to what would normally be like a military crest, where the thermals would meet the wind that's coming over the back. And that's where I set up. And that is where he was traveling. In line, right at me. So that worked out. I don't know, it just felt right. You get that gut feeling. And sometimes you should always choose your gut feeling over your brain. I'll sit there and second guess myself 8 times, and especially when I'm picking trees. That's the worst part, to hang a new stand. But it worked out that time. So that was a good night.
Now, just go back so listeners, hopefully they heard it, about wind, thermals, and ridge.
Yep.
What does all that mean? Lay that down.
So during the rut, or maybe all the time, a buck will travel the military crest on a hill, which he'll be catching the wind coming over the top of the hill, and then he'll also be catching the thermals coming up from the bottom. That's where they meet, and that's where he can scent both ways. It's where they feel secure. And my wind was coming over the top, and in the evening your thermals go down. So my thermals were actually with the wind dropping down the hill, and he came at a crosswind. So he was checking that trail we walked in on. He was, well, essentially, I don't know if he was checking, but he could have smelled anything on that trail that we'd been accessing on. But I was off the back side of it where he was walking, and I hadn't gone past my stand, so he never smelled. I didn't lay my scent down anywhere else, so he never went. He never caught us. And by the time he got to where he could have winded me, it was already too late. So wind is very important when you're hunting mature deer.
Yeah, one thing, and a bunch of people who've been on the show this week have talked about, we had a gentleman the other day, and they were just getting busted up on a ridge. Perfect setup, everything right, the wind was coming in their face, but they went down on the off side of the ridge, built a little fire with leaves, and watched the smoke just spiral up right to the yard. So they were cooked.
Wow.
I mean, and I was amazed. I'm thinking, that was pretty smart. Now, there's a lot of ways you could do that, but
Yep.
they actually had the smoke so they could watch it for a long period of time. And so lessons learned, folks, and that's something that we've got to do better, because if you get busted, there's a reason for it.
Yep.
If you come in stealthy and everything's hung and everything looks right, then all of a sudden the mature bucks, younger bucks not so much,
Yeah.
mature bucks, they kicked their butt until
Yep.
they went down, figured it out, said there's no way we can hunt a stand. It's not going to ever work.
Nope.
There's no wind that we could. Maybe in the dead of winter still, but whatever heat's coming off the ground, they're screwed.
Yep, and that's the tough part about southern Ohio. There's so many hills and valleys and hogbacks and all that stuff that your wind, I mean, it's just swirls half the time. So you got to find that spot where you're not, shooting yourself in the foot. And to your point with the smoke, a lot of guys, I learned it from, I think, Dan Infalt, Hunting Beast. He uses a milkweed. You take a piece of milkweed and float it in the wind. That will go and follow the wind trail as far as you can see it. So how far can you see? Well, 100 yards maybe, or 50 yards, whatever. You can follow that and see, okay, my wind goes that way, and then it hits a thermal, and then it goes that way. Oh, well, you thought you were just having a south wind, and maybe you should watch out for the southwest wind or what have you.
Right.
So that's a tip that I picked up is using a milkweed like that for that exact reason.
Hey, let's finish up the show and really get into outdoor devotion and what that means to you and your crew.
Yeah, so basically, the coolest thing about the website, what I find, is that I get to tell people, hey, you want to see what I love to do and think about and talk about and everything else? You can actually see it. You can actually go look at it and watch it. And it's like, I mean, I know, family supports you all the time, but it's awesome when, like, my grandpa will say, hey, that was very cool. Or, my uncle, hey, I saw your video. That was really cool. It's like, oh, thanks, And I think it's really cool. But it's just a way to share what we love to do with people like you and everybody else who have the same passion. So, and it's just rewarding when it all works out and comes together.
Well, Jared Van Hees of Outdoor Devotion, thank you so much for being a guest here and just sharing some stories about ATA and especially sharing your personal best buck. I learned a couple things, which I do every show pretty much anyway, but you've been a great guest and I just wanted to wish you well and thanks for being a guest.
Well, thank you, Bruce. I really appreciate you having me on. I had a great time and hope to do it again sometime. So,
hey, Jared, before we close the show, why don't you tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you on social media, website, anything that they can do to reach out to you?
Sure. The best way would be to Google Outdoor Devotion. The domain is outdoor-devotion.com. We have a YouTube page as Outdoor Devotion. A Facebook is the same. And we have an Instagram account. So, all the above. And there's not anybody out there called Outdoor Devotion. So I think it's easier to find at least.
Hey, give a shout out to your crew.
Yeah.
You got some guys or gals out there. Give them a shout out.
Yeah. I got a couple of them. One of them's here with me. His name's Dusty. Austin, I got a buddy Jesse, Kyle, Casey, Brian, Matt out of Grand Haven, and let's see, I believe that might be the main crew right there who films, and my brother Drew, obviously, as well. I think that's it. Yeah, shout out to those guys. I wouldn't be here without them, and they have some awesome footage and some awesome stories too.
Do you have any sponsors? People helping you put the show together?
Actually, we do. We don't make any money doing this at all. This is all for fun. But yeah, we have a few of them. I like to call them partners, I guess. Killer Food Plots is another Michigan-based company that we work with. Bone Hog Mineral, Flip Tech Camouflage, Never Dry Products. If I forget something, this could be bad. I'm forgetting somebody.
That's okay. You want to look them up? Jared, again, hey, thanks for that little promo and shout out for the guys. So on behalf of Whitetail Rendezvous listeners across North America, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Bruce. Had a great time. Appreciate it.
It's never too early to think about food plots. Whitetail Rendezvous has an ebook for you. Just simply text 33444 food plot to get your copy.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.